The heat doesn't leave Arizona when the sun goes down. It just settles into the asphalt, radiating up through the soles of your shoes like the ground itself is running a fever. I was 3 hours into my shift at the Stardust Motor Inn, staring at a patch of cracked pavement illuminated by the flickering red neon of our vacancy sign. It was 2 a.m. The highway, Interstate 40, was a ribbon of silence stretching out into the pitch-black desert. I took this job because I needed to disappear. My name is Elias, and back in Chicago, I made a few mistakes that cost people a lot of money. I needed a place that paid cash, didn't ask questions, and was far enough off the grid that my past wouldn't come knocking. The Stardust was perfect. It was a dying horseshoe of 20 rooms wrapped around a swimming pool that had been empty since the 90s. The owner, a man named Mr. Henderson who breathed through an oxygen tank and smelled like formaldehyde, hired me on the spot. He didn't ask for a resume. He didn't ask for ID. He just handed me a heavy iron key ring and a laminated sheet of paper stained with coffee rings. "Read it," Henderson had wheezed. "Memorize it. If you mess up the register, I take it out of your pay. If you mess up the paper, you don't get paid at all." I thought he meant store policies. No refunds, no pets, check out at 11. But when I sat down behind the bulletproof glass of the night window and actually read the list, I realized the Stardust wasn't just a rundown motel. It was something else entirely. Here is the list I found taped to the counter next to the credit card machine. Rule 1. The lobby doors must remain locked between midnight and 6 a.m. Transactions are done through the slide tray only. If someone knocks on the glass asking to use the phone because their car broke down, look at their shoes. If their shoes are clean, do not open the tray. Do not speak to them. Turn off the lobby light and wait until they leave. Rule 2. Room 12 is permanently out of order. We do not rent room 12. If the computer shows room 12 as occupied, do not try to fix the error. Just write it down in the logbook and ignore any calls coming from that extension. Rule 3. If a guest checks in under the name Mr. Blackwood, give him the key to room 6. Do not ask for ID. Do not ask for a credit card. He pays with a single gold coin. Place the coin in the safe immediately. Do not touch it with your bare skin, use a tissue. Rule 4. The vending machine in the breezeway hums. Sometimes, the hum will change to a low, rhythmic thumping, like a heartbeat. If you hear this, unplug the machine for exactly 10 minutes. If you don't, the sodas inside will spoil, and the cans will be filled with something thick and red. Rule 5. Between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., do not look at the swimming pool. You will hear splashing. You might hear laughter. Keep your eyes on the television or the counter. If you look, they will see you looking. Rule 6. The coyotes in this part of the desert are aggressive. However, if you see a coyote standing on its hind legs near the ice machine, looking at you, duck below the counter. Stay there until you hear the ice machine dump a fresh load of ice. Rule 7. If the phone rings and the caller ID says, internal, answer it. It's the manager. He will ask you one question: is the road clear? You must look at the highway. If there are no cars, say yes. If there is a car, say no. If you lie, he will know. Rule 8. Never leave the office. Not for a smoke, not to check a noise, not to help a screaming woman in the parking lot. The glass protects you. Outside, you are fair game. At first, I laughed. I thought it was hazing for the new guy. A way to spook the city boy out in the sticks. The first week was quiet. Just truckers needing a few hours of sleep and tourists who had taken a wrong turn looking for the Grand Canyon. I sat there, reading paperbacks and watching the dust motes dance in the fluorescent light. I started to relax. I started to think the rules were just a joke. Then came Tuesday of my second week. It was 3:15 a.m. The desert silence was so heavy it felt like pressure in my ears. I was wiping down the counter when I heard it. Splash. It came from the courtyard. A distinct, heavy splash, like a cannonball hitting water. My first instinct was annoyance. I thought some kids had hopped the fence to skateboard in the empty pool or maybe throw rocks. I looked up, ready to shout at them through the intercom. Then I remembered Rule 5. Between 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m., do not look at the swimming pool. I froze. My head was turned halfway toward the window that looked out onto the courtyard. The blinds were slanted open. From the corner of my eye, I could see the concrete lip of the pool. Splash. Again. Wet. Heavy. Liquid. But the pool was empty. I knew it was empty. I had walked past it coming in. It was a bone-dry concrete pit filled with tumbleweeds and dead leaves. I felt a cold sweat prickle on the back of my neck. My brain was screaming at me to look, to verify, to prove that it was just a trick of the acoustics. But the fear was primal. It was the kind of fear that tells a gazelle to freeze in the tall grass. I forced my head down. I stared at the ledger on the desk. Splash. Splash. Giggling. It sounded like children. Wet, gurgling laughter that didn't sound quite human. It sounded like air bubbling up through water. Come play, a voice whispered. It sounded like it was right against the glass. I squeezed my eyes shut and started humming a song from the radio, loud enough to drown it out. I sat there for 15 minutes, my knuckles white as I gripped the edge of the desk. At 3:31 a.m., the splashing stopped instantly. The silence returned. I didn't look out that window for the rest of the night. 2 nights later, Rule 1 was tested. A man knocked on the glass door. It was 1 a.m. He looked frantic. He was wearing a nice suit, tie loosened, sweat glistening on his forehead. "Please," he yelled, his voice muffled by the thick glass. "My car overheated about a mile back. My phone is dead. I just need to call a tow truck. Please, man, help me out." He looked legitimate. He looked like a businessman having a terrible night. My hand moved toward the buzzer to unlock the door. It was basic human decency, right? Then I looked down. The rules said, look at their shoes. If their shoes are clean, do not open the tray. The men had supposedly walked a mile through the Arizona desert in the middle of the night. The ground out there is red dust, gravel, and scrub brush. His black dress shoes were polished to a mirror shine. Not a speck of dust. Not a scratch. They looked like he had just taken them out of the box. I pulled my hand back from the buzzer. "Sir, I can call a tow truck for you," I shouted through the speaker. "But I can't let you inside. Store policy." The man's expression didn't change. He didn't look relieved that I was offering to make the call. He didn't look angry. His face just went slack. "Open the door, Elias," he said. I hadn't told him my name. I wasn't wearing a name tag. "I can't do that," I said, my voice shaking. He smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. It stretched too wide, showing too many teeth. "It's cold out here, Elias. The desert gets so cold at night." He placed a hand on the glass. Where his palm touched, the safety glass began to fog up, then crackled with frost. In the middle of July, in Arizona, ice was spreading across the door. I reached up and flipped the switch for the lobby lights, plunging the room into darkness. I ducked below the counter, heart hammering against my ribs. I waited. I heard a soft tap 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 on the glass. Then, a sigh. When I finally worked up the courage to peek over the counter 20 minutes later, the parking lot was empty. The frost on the glass had melted into a puddle of dirty water on the welcome mat. The worst incident, though, happened last night. It was the rule I thought was the most ridiculous. Rule 6. The coyote. I was restocking the cigarettes behind the counter. The clock read 4:45 a.m. The sky was just starting to turn that bruised purple color before dawn. I glanced at the security monitor. Camera 3 covered the ice machine and the soda vending machine in the breezeway. There was a coyote standing there. At first, I just thought, okay, wild animal. It happens. Then the coyote stood up. It didn't rear up on its hind legs like a dog begging for a treat. It unfolded. Its joints popped and rearranged until it was standing fully upright, balancing like a man. It was over 6 feet tall. Its fur was matted and patchy. It turned its head slowly and looked directly into the lens of the security camera. Its eyes were bright yellow, glowing with an unnatural luminescence. It raised a paw, no, a hand. The fingers were too long, bent at wrong angles. It pointed at the office door. At me. I dropped to the floor instantly. I crawled under the desk, jamming myself into the small space where the safe was bolted down. I held my breath. I heard the heavy, wet footsteps of something walking on pads approach the office door. Sniff. Sniff. A deep, guttural growl vibrated through the door. It sounded like rocks grinding together in a blender. I remembered the rule. Stay there until you hear the ice machine dump a fresh load of ice. I waited. The scratching started on the door. Long, slow scrapes of claws against metal. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying the lock held. Praying the glass was as strong as Henderson said it was. The scratching stopped. Silence. Minutes ticked by. My legs were cramping. I wanted to move. I wanted to look. Maybe it was gone. Maybe I was hiding from nothing. Then, the mechanical whir clunk of the ice machine outside echoed through the breezeway. The sound of ice cubes tumbling into the plastic bin was the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. I scrambled up, gasping for air. I looked at the monitor. The breezeway was empty. But there was something on the glass of the front door. I walked over to it slowly. There were scratches deep into the reinforced glass. 3 long, parallel gouges right at eye level. And smeared across the glass, in a thick, yellowish fluid that smelled like sulfur and rotting meat, was a message. It was written backward, so I could read it from the inside. Almost time. I grabbed the cleaning spray and a rag and scrubbed it off, my hands shaking so bad I almost dropped the bottle. I didn't want the day shift to see it. I'm writing this down now because of what happened 5 minutes ago. The phone rang. The caller ID said internal. I picked it up, my hand sweating against the plastic receiver. Stardust in, I answered. Is the road clear? The voice was dry, like sandpaper rubbing against stone. It sounded like Henderson, but older. Ancient. I looked out the window. The highway was empty. Just the long stretch of asphalt and the rising sun. Yes, I said. It's clear. Good, the voice said. He is coming. Who? I asked. Who is coming? The line went dead. I looked back out at the highway. On the horizon, shimmering in the heat haze, I saw a black car. It was moving slowly. It wasn't driving on the road. It was hovering just inches above the asphalt, kicking up no dust. It's getting closer. I looked at the rules list again. I turned it over. I had never turned it over before. On the back, scrawled in faint pencil, was one final line I hadn't seen. Rule 9, when he arrives, you are no longer the clerk. You are the offering. The black car is pulling into the lot now. The windows are tinted so dark they look like black holes. The engine shut off, but the car is still humming. I'm locking the office door. I'm taking the gun Henderson keeps under the register. I don't think I'm quitting this job. I don't think I'm ever leaving the Stardust Motor Inn. If you're driving through Arizona on Interstate 40 and you see a neon sign flickering red, keep driving. Don't stop for gas. Don't stop for sleep. Because there are rules here. And I think I just broke the last one.